Seriously? Seriously. That's how we're going to spend our New Year's Day. That's how we're going to spend our New Year's Day. Make no mistake about this. The Eagles, there's I know people are going to try to go silver lining with some things to try to justify that. That's how we spend New Year's Day. The Eagles have it right there for the taking to take the top spot. After a 13-1 start to the season, the Eagles have a chance to wrap up the top seed in the NFC. Win the NFC East, of course. Set some sack records. That's adorable. Brandon Graham, happy for you. But the Eagles have an opportunity to clinch it, to lock it all up against the New Orleans Saints, a dreck of a football team. And they put in that performance. Yes, folks, I got to be honest with you. Like, a lot of times when our teams are terrible, I tend to laugh at the situation. I tend not to get too angry. I try to keep it a little lighthearted. I try to have fun with it. But watching yesterday's performance was just, it pissed me off from start to finish. I was physically getting angry yesterday watching that football game. And I found, and I didn't really find this until after the game, like, why was it so, like, of course the team was playing bad. Of course they were getting outplayed by the Saints. But it really hit me afterwards that it was just so many things I was pissed off about, from the offensive line penalties to Gardner Minshew's overall play to, I think, not one but two awful calls or non-calls by the officiating crew yesterday. But it all starts and finishes with the Philadelphia Eagles, so the refs are going to be the refs. It all comes down to coaching. For me, above everything else, it's coaching. 1,000% coaching. And when I was going through the press conferences yesterday, when I was going through all the media stuff and all the sessions and all that stuff yesterday, what I eventually came to the conclusion was that this was a coaching nightmare. It was an abomination what we watched yesterday from the Eagles coaching staff. It really came down to nobody being ready to play. And when nobody's ready to play, you look at the coaching staff. When you talk about a 15-play opening touchdown drive by the New Orleans Saints, when you talk about that, I'm going to go ahead and look at the defensive coordinator of this football team. When I look at anything else when it comes to this football team, I'll go ahead and look at the players and the way they played this game, the way they attacked, or the lack thereof. But everything else was abysmal. And it starts and finishes with the coaching staff. It starts and finishes with Nick Sirianni. And really, for me, what got me more pissed off than anything was the way they were going to attack this defense. Because they failed drastically to attack this defense. Failed drastically. Here's your head coach after the game talking about just basically the way this offense played to start things out, and his quarterback, Gardner Minshew, the way they started things out as well.
You know, obviously he's going to want plays back. We're all going to want plays back, right? And so I'll have to look at the tape right there. Obviously, 23 made a good play on the interception in a critical time, and on that one. So I'll look at what that really looked like up close. I don't want to comment quite yet. I mean, obviously it wasn't Gardner's best game, and it wasn't our best game as an offense. It wasn't even close, right? Gardner's capable of playing better. We're capable of coaching better, and we're capable of playing better as an entire unit.
It was all bad. It was all bad. And I know a lot of people want to look at Minshew, and you have a right to do so. The Eagles should have won that game yesterday. I have no doubt in my mind the Eagles should have won that game yesterday. They played distracted. They played terrible football yesterday from start to finish. And I thought of, well, not just with watching Minshew, but just I thought of this with the team. Like, obviously, a lot of us are thinking about Jalen Hurts and whether or not he could have played in that game, whether or not he should have played in that game. Here's what I believe. I don't think this is too far a stretch. I don't think this is a conspiracy theory. If Jalen Hurts was healthy enough to play yesterday, meaning he was 100% healthy, if he was healthy enough to play yesterday, because I'm not trying to throw somebody out that is injured, but if Jalen Hurts was healthy enough to play, he should have played. If this was the Eagles saying, we don't need Jalen Hurts to beat the Saints, we can do this with Gardner Minshew, then shame on them yesterday. I think it was Jeff McClellan of the Inquirer used the word comeuppance. The Eagles get their comeuppance. They got their comeuppance if that was the case. If Jalen Hurts was healthy enough to play, but the Eagles thought, you know what? We'll just say we're being super duper extra cautious with them, and we don't need them to beat the Saints anyway, so why? Why even roll them out there? Well, because I don't know if you guys ever heard this before, but on any given Sunday, you could win or you could lose. And any team can beat any team on any given Sunday. And the Saints certainly proved that again yesterday against the Eagles. This is a team that has had amazing focus all year long. This is a team that, no matter what, was rising above and conquering what was in front of them. Sure, they had the game against the Commanders, right? They turned the football over. Sure, hey, even with Gardner Minshew, they turned the football over 4 times against the Cowboys. They lose that game last week. Now we got to watch this team completely lose focus in the game yesterday. There's no better example of this team losing focus other than just a terrible game plan going into it than the way the offensive line in that third quarter had 3 consecutive false start penalties. 3 false start penalties on 1 possession. You get the breakup by Kayvon Wallace, so you get the Saints actually off the football field. Imagine that. Then the Eagles offense comes back out on the field. 3 false start penalties by your offensive line. Jason Kelce was one of them. Jason Kelce also had an illegal man downfield called against him earlier in the game. We'll let you hear from Jason Kelce a little bit later. Jason Kelce basically blames himself for this loss. I give him a lot of credit. Doesn't throw anybody else under the proverbial bus or anything like that, but he takes full responsibility, puts it on his own shoulders, and says he needs to be better. Whether that was sliding his protections as the center, whether that was the focus that he had on the offensive line there, the attention that he had on the offensive line with the false starts, whatever it was, Jason Kelce blamed himself for the way the offensive line played in this game, especially when it came to the penalties. As far as that Landon Dickerson play goes, oh my goodness. I know a lot of people are coming out right now and saying that it was all Jordan Mailata. They just got the number wrong. I don't think so. Because if you watch what Jordan Mailata did on that play, his hold, if you call it a hold, isn't really nearly as egregious looking as what Landon Dickerson did. If you have the wrong angle as an official on that play, that looks egregious. But it was a great block. Moose Johnson, I thought, and I rarely catch what announcers are saying because I just don't care, but I was actually listening because he was so enraged by the fact that it was a good block, a pancake block by Landon Dickerson. Then when people say, oh, they called the wrong number, Jordan Mailata. Well, I go back and I watch the play a couple more times, and I see a little bit of a hand under a shoulder pad, under really the chest area of the shoulder pad, but nothing that if you're a referee you would normally call. The minute there's a hold, the second there's a little bit of a hold, he lets go. And that usually lets him go. I don't think it was a matter of the officiating crew calling the wrong number. I think the officiating crew blew the call. We'll see if we get a statement about that later in the week. But that was a touchdown that was taken off the board, as we all know. But when you look at that, you look at the shooting themselves in the foot, the Eagles, with false start penalties, missed throws by their quarterback, the defense allowing a 15-play opening drive to that game. That was not the way that was supposed to go. When you're really looking at a bunch of things going wrong for the Eagles in a game, I don't just look at the players, I look at the coaching. And to me, the biggest blemish on yesterday's game was the fact that you failed to run the football in the early goings of the game. Simply for, I don't know why, but that wasn't part of the game plan. It wasn't part of the game plan. Running against this defense wasn't part of the game plan. Somehow magically, the Saints defense has done a pretty decent job in passing situations. They've done pretty good against the pass. Running the ball, they have not been able to stop this season for whatever reason. And the Philadelphia Eagles decided with their backup quarterback, they were going to have Gardner Minshew beat the Saints. Really? Hey, look, I've said this before. I think Gardner Minshew could compete to start on some football teams here in the NFL, but he's a backup quarterback. And it's not just a backup quarterback because he's playing against who I believe is the MVP. And I know some people will go to that silver lining and say, well, yesterday was the greatest endorsement for Jalen Hurts to be the MVP. And you know what? You're right. That's not even a joke. That's a statement of fact. Yesterday was the greatest endorsement for Jalen Hurts to be the MVP of the NFL, without question. But the coaching staff decided that, I don't know, to take Gardner Minshew's play against the Cowboys for granted and say, oh, well, that's how he plays. Oh, they got this, no problem. You had to run the ball. And I hadn't reached my low point yet. But again, after the game, I was laughing when I was listening to Gardner Minshew, when I was listening to Nick Sirianni, when I was listening to who else was out in there? AJ Brown and Smitty, Devontae Smith. When they were talking about how nothing really changed in the second half, well, what was the difference in the game plan in the second half? You guys look at the do no, same stuff. Minshew's got he's up there at the podium and the table, and he's like, "No, man, nothing changed. We just we were doing some stuff, and we did the stuff in the first half, man, and then in the second half, it's great. We did the same stuff again, and it was working." That's my horrible Gardner Minshew. But I'm like, "What are you talking about? You were doing the same thing." Miles Sanders touched the football twice in the first half. Miles Sanders touched the football twice. You ran the football, and he was the only running back to run the football in the first half against the New Orleans Saints, people. Gardner Minshew was going to beat them? That was the game plan going into this? Let's put it on Gardner Minshew's shoulders and see what happens. I got it. Nick Sirianni said before the season he wasn't going to be calling plays, but he was going to be doing the game plan ahead of the game. All right, that makes sense. He's a head coach. He's an offensive-minded guy. That makes sense. Sure, all right, good game plan beforehand. Not going to call the plays on game day, but you're going to make the big decisions, fourth down, whatever. All right, okay, fine. That makes sense. A lot of coaches have done that before. Fine. Whatever the game plan was yesterday, whatever the play calling was yesterday, was terrible. It was flat out embarrassing that the Eagles set foot on that football field yesterday, on their home turf at Lincoln Financial Field, and put in that performance in front of their hometown fans. When they had an opportunity to clinch the number one spot in all the NFC, their defense showed up yesterday. I hear all this talk about Jonathan Gannon. Oh, he sucks. Jonathan Gannon this, Jonathan Gannon. Okay. Jonathan Gannon, whatever it was yesterday, for the most part, had a pretty damn good game plan. For the most part yesterday, this defensive line, they did their job. Andy Dalton played well beyond his skill level as far as I'm concerned, but that's what he's capable of doing. You start out, 12 for 12 before the interception by Josiah Scott, which, by the way, thank goodness for that, because that just would have made another field goal happen before halftime. And the Eagles ended up getting the ball back. They got their first down on that possession. Hey, all right. And then what else did they do? They get another first down on that possession to Devontae Smith. All right, pad your stats. Fine. You know what? Build your confidence, because I'll take anything right now before halftime. That was the one thing you got before halftime. And then you actually came out and started moving the football. Miles Sanders in the first two plays in the second half. All right, here. You didn't change anything at halftime? Miles Sanders on the first two plays of the second half matched his carries for the entire first half. You weren't doing anything different. Okay. You weren't doing anything different, please. I talked to John McMullen during the halftime show for the Jacob Media YouTube channel. And John McMullen said, well, Miles Sanders is banged up with that knee injury. I mean, it's a good point. He missed practice this week because of the knee injury. Maybe they were being cautious with him. Okay, that was a little bit more caution. All right. Hey, maybe they thought they could beat the Saints without Jalen Hurts and without using Miles Sanders a lot in this game. Maybe that's how bad they thought the Saints were. Saints weren't that bad, apparently. Saints were ready to go. Saints were in a position to help their playoff chances by going out there and winning. Now, it obviously, what the hell with the way the Bucs played yesterday. But still, the Saints went out there like they had a chip on their shoulder, like they really had something to play for. They played desperate. They played all out in that game. And although I think it was a stupid play call, they were going for it with that little flea flicker where Taysom Hill ended up getting sacked, if you even can call it that. Direct snap was to Alvin Kamara. Then he tosses it back to Taysom Hill, who gets sacked. All right. But when that play was unfolding, I went, well, that was dumb. Everything seems to be going their way in this game. And they're Eagles, all right, now they got an opportunity. Let's go. But, man, if the Eagles thought that they could go into this game and win without Jalen Hurts and win with Gardner Minshew and win by not using Miles Sanders, and then I know Nick Sirianni will let you hear not hitting the panic button, But after the game or during the game, it seemed like he was hitting that panic button a little bit in that second half because he finally started running the ball. Oh, that's part of the game plan. Didn't do anything different. It's right there in front of us. You're doing a lot different. You're actually committing to the run a little bit here, and you're actually moving the football again. Guess what? That also let you know that you weren't putting everything on your quarterback's shoulders. Go figure. I was just flat out pissed off yesterday with everything that played out in that game. I think you can kind of tell that Gardner Minshew wasn't exactly on top of his game yesterday. Happy feet in the pocket, unable to escape pressure, had the fumble later in the game. I mean, he admitted to after the game. He said he's got to watch the tape, of course. But, yeah, probably you could say that he was holding the football too long. That's what he said. I was just holding the football too long, man. Sometimes back there and you're holding it, and it's like, oh, it's too long. And then you're sacked. Yeah, I would say that's definitely. He sailed one to Smitty on a 3rd and long. There was one play in particular. I want to make sure I get this the timing of it right. I want to say it was early in the 3rd quarter. But there was one play in particular that I looked at with Gardner Minshew, where he was going for the first down. I want to say it was in the 3rd quarter. And no, it was the 2nd quarter, 3rd and 1. Early in the 2nd quarter, 3rd and 1. Eagles face that 3rd and 1. They're in their own territory. Gardner Minshew, they have the read option play. Now, it's not a read option to run if you're Minshew. It's a read option to actually keep the ball and throw it because they had Dallas Goedert going up the sideline. And in this particular play, the defensive end stays home. The edge rusher stays home, so Minshew has to make a play, essentially. And instead of handing it to Miles Sanders, he keeps it, starts rolling to his right. Now, this is the moment that I thought if it's Jalen Hurts and it's a 3rd and 1, he's getting that first down. Because Minshew himself was still, I think it was a no gain. I don't think he took a loss on the play, but I think it was a no gain. But it's a play that if Jalen Hurts is your starting quarterback in that game, if he's playing, he's keeping that ball, and he's either getting the first down or he's jetting out further to his right, allowing Dallas Goedert to release from the defensive back upfield for at least a big gain. Watching it on the cable cam, on the Sky cam, it looked like nobody was downfield, so I don't want to be so bold as to say touchdown, but it could have been a big play. It could have been a touchdown to Dallas Goedert. If Jalen Hurts is playing that game, or if Gardner Minshew has the presence of mind to maybe step back in that situation and buy himself an extra half a second for Dallas Goedert to release up the sideline, forget about it. And you're getting points on the board in that play, possibly. You're getting points on the board on that drive. And instead, they end up coming up short on the 3rd and 1. They end up punting. Oh, my God. The 4th and inches with Gardner Minshew up the middle. Somebody yesterday, you know who I think it was? I think it was Giovanni, the podcaster, right? Giovanni, super fan Giovanni, love the kid. I think he pointed out that Scott Hansen on the Red Zone said that it's almost as if Gardner Minshew doesn't squat 600 pounds like Jalen Hurts does. Yeah, they're not the same person. Why am I calling the same play? Gardner Minshew is not some huge dude. He's not like a Tom Brady. He's not like 6'4", 6'5", where he's just going to get that. He's not squatting 600 pounds like Jalen Hurts. He's not just automatically going to get that. Why am I using him the same way on that play? Where is Miles Sanders on that play? I don't want to continue to use it. Hey, look, it worked with the goal line situation against the Cowboys last week. That's great. But I didn't like the play call because it's like you're asking Gardner Minshew to do the same thing that Jalen Hurts is doing. You're asking your offensive line sure to do the same thing. But I don't have nearly much confidence in Gardner Minshew in that play as I would Jalen Hurts. And why is that? Because he doesn't squat 600 pounds. And he's not Jalen Hurts. You know why I've had so much success on that? It's not just the offensive line. Jalen Hurts can get a nice little push for himself as well. And then the end all, be all. Oh, my God. The pick six was terrible. I mean, there were 2 teaching moments. You could certainly pick out a lot, but there are 2 things that I thought you could take away from this game. That if you were showing a kid trying to learn football, hey, you got practice? You're going to try football? Let's just watch these 2 things, and I'm going to teaching notes here, okay? Here's some notes. Let's start with the positive. The 78-yard touchdown from A.J. Brown, it was one big package of everything A.J. Brown does great. got off the line of scrimmage well, made a good cut to get a half step, then fought off the defensive back, got him off balance, then fought him off, and then great hands, held up, a little underthrown if being picky, but a little underthrown, adjusted to the ball, came down with it, found a running lane, and that was that. Everything, like from quickness to soft hands, adjustment, soft hands, and then breakaway speed. It was like everything. If you were teaching a young wide receiver how to play a ball, or how to run a route and play a ball, that's how you do it. Beautiful teaching moment there for everybody in a positive way. Learn from this. On the complete opposite end of the spectrum was the pick six. Marshawn Lattimore's pick six was textbook what you don't do as a quarterback. If you're a young kid, you want to start playing quarterback, watch Gardner Minshew on that play. Snap, stare, throw. Never the way that's supposed to go. Doesn't look off anybody. Lattimore read it from the get-go. A.J. Brown, you'll hear from him in a minute, was trying to tell Gardner Minshew, don't do it. And he did it. Pick six. It goes from a 13-10 game from a 20 to a 20-10 game. That was textbook what you don't do. The Eagles have talked about the teach tape. That's going to be on the teach tape. But I don't even know if it's going to make it because it was so egregious. Like, everyone should know, don't stare down your receiver. And by the way, this is going to be taken to the house if you throw it to A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown knew it, but apparently couldn't communicate it to his quarterback. I want to jump into this right now. We're going to do a little out of order here, but since I'm on the subject now, A.J. Brown, Gardner Minshew, Marshawn Lattimore. On the pick six, the decisive game clinching, essentially, pick six. Here is Gardner Minshew talking about what unfolded on that play.
Yeah, man, it was, we ran that same play earlier. It was the same coverage, and they made a great adjustment to it, jumped the route. I should have seen that leverage, when we made the motion. I assume since it was the same coverage, he's going to play it the same, but he made a great adjustment and made the play. It's beat us.
That's exactly what he did. Marshawn Lattimore's take on what went down yesterday on that pick six.
They've been doing it all game. I just picked up on it. And so when it came to me, I had to get it. I told my team that I owed them from the first half. I owed them that. So, I did it. I got it done.
Two things. One is the first, when he's asked about the pick six. Psh, that little psh. It's like, like in that little psh, that thing that he did there. Let's see if I can get it one more time.
They've been doing it all game. I just picked up on it.
They've been doing it all game. In that little psh, I heard, you believe they did that again? That's what I heard. That's what I heard when I heard the psh. Okay. And then second was, they've been doing it all game. They've been all, nothing changed. A.J. Brown knew it. Marshawn Lattimore knew it. Hell, apparently the entire Saints defense knew it because they went back to that coverage. And they saw the way they lined up. They knew Gardner Minshew was their quarterback and it wasn't Jalen Hurts. They knew where the ball was going. They jumped the route, took it to the house. A.J. Brown's body language on the play was terrible. But, what was he going to do in that play? Was he just go and hit Marshawn Lattimore? Hey, all right, it's better than the result they got, sure. But the play was right there, man. Lattimore just jumped it, made the play, took it to the house. Oh, he hadn't played since week 5? Probably the most honest assessment of the play, other than Lattimore, who was the victor in that, is A.J. Brown. Here's how he broke it down after the game.
The interception at the end of Gardner. Can you just take us through that play?
It was initially pressed. We trying to get Gardner's attention to look up, but he never looked back at me. The DB actually called it right out, and it basically doubled me on the play. So, nice question.
Is that one of those situations where it's just kind of you're not familiar with each other enough?
I don't think that's the case. I just think I just don't think he looked up. He saw one look and he just stayed with that look.
Early in this game, the offense really struggled to get going. I mean, from your perspective, were there reasons why specifically?
I have no answer to that either.
That last thing, I got no answer to that. I think he would prefer to run the ball a little bit more in that first half. I think that would have been a nice thing for the Eagles offense in general. But on the other side of that, Gardner Minshew, according to A.J. Brown, saw one look, tried to get his attention, stayed on it. That was, again, the proverbial, the metaphorical bus. Gardner Minshew is under it. And yes, Gardner Minshew put himself under it with that horrible throw, that horrible decision. It was awful. But A.J. Brown highlights it, made that one look, stayed on it. Okay. One read, no progression. A.J. Brown, go make yourself a play. And A.J. Brown couldn't make himself a play because the ball was never going to get to him on that play. It really feels like today's the day where you're picking up the pieces. And now you have to hope that the Giants all but mail it in next week against the Eagles because they can't really help their stock all that much next week, if at all. But Brian Daboll, after last night's game, after yesterday's game where the Giants just handled their business, Daniel Jones had 4 touchdowns, 2 passing, 2 rushing. But, man, they took care of business against the Colts. Nick Foles, not too good in that game. Nick Foles also got hurt in that game. But, man, the Giants just did exactly what they needed to do in order to clinch a playoff berth. And they did that. But doesn't look like they're going to be starting guys, or doesn't look like they're going to be resting guys next week against the Eagles. According to Brian Daboll, he says players are going to play. I remember him in the preseason talking about how players are supposed to play. And they went out there and they played. Now he's using the same thing for the postseason, getting ready for the postseason. Players are going to play. So I don't think the Giants are just going to sit back and relax and just hand the top seed in the NFC, hand over the NFC East to the Philadelphia Eagles. The Giants are going to fight for it. You know, good for them. Oh, you can get hurt. Yeah, it's football. You can get hurt. If the Eagles were in a situation going into this game where they just felt, we don't need the MVP of the league for this, well, then they got exactly what they had coming to them. You can say karma's a bitch. You can say it's their comeuppance. If Jalen Hurts was healthy enough to play, but the Eagles decided, no. We know he's okay, but let's be extra super absolute cautious. Well, you can't take anything for granted in the NFL. I don't know if you heard this before, but the NFL's got parity to it. I was, if I had any hair, I'd be pulling it out and watching it. Pulling my beard out, basically. But if I did that, I wouldn't need Manscaped, ladies and gentlemen. Manscaped.com, 20% off at Manscaped.com when you use promo code Farzy at Manscaped.com. Yeah, that's right. It's called Segway. It's pretty amazing if you ask me. Manscaped.com, the leader in below-the-waist grooming, or above the waist if you got to shave the beard too, right? Manscaped.com, 20% off and free shipping when you use promo code Farzy. That's 20% off and free shipping when you use promo code Farzy. It includes their Platinum Package 4.0, which has their amazing lawnmower, their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, as well as their Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer. And they both come with skin-safe technology that helps you reduce the risk of nicks so you can manscape with confidence and comfort. Go to manscaped.com, 20% off and free shipping when you use promo code Farzy. How about PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs? That's phlsportsnation.com. How about the people at Freestone Farm CBD? FreestoneFarmCBD.com. If you like CBD, if you use CBD, how about Freestone Farm CBD at FreestoneFarmCBD.com? And you can use promo code Farzy for 20% off at Freestone Farm CBD. You'll love their tropical tasting Bayox that clocks in at a topping 24.1%. And Super CBD, which is half Hindu, Kush, and 21%. Genetics of these guys are off the charts. So try Freestone Farm CBD at FreestoneFarmCBD.com. Who else do I have for you? Just on yesterday's loss, It was just one of those games where you just never felt right. And the word prepared, I think, is going to be thrown around a lot around this game because the Eagles just didn't look prepared. And one of the things that really jumped out to me was what jumped out to a lot of people. It was just the lack of running the football. I mentioned it earlier. 2 runs for Miles Sanders in the first half of the game. 2 runs in the first possession of Miles Sanders in the second half. Oh, my God. So Jason Kelce got asked about, and speak about honest answers, nobody was mincing words in that Eagles locker room yesterday. A.J. Brown, you just heard from. Here's Jason Kelce when he was asked about possibly running the football more in the first half, if that would help things out.
I don't know. I think, it didn't really seem like much was working. So I'd be, I'm never going to criticize a play caller or anything in terms of, we should have done this or that because, we were doing a pretty good job of screwing up everything there in the first half. So, we put ourselves in some bad situations, regardless what was called. So I think that, for me, I think we just need to focus on, all this stuff works if you execute it properly and you put guys in the right situation and you don't get unnecessary penalties and you stay ahead of the chains and all of these things. I think that is by far, in a way, the bigger thing that killed the offense today.
All right. I like that he takes blame. I like all that stuff. But I know it's cliche. I feel like we're rolling a lot of them out today, and I apologize for that. But they all apply. They're all accurate today. The one that comes to mind here is that as a coach, you're supposed to put players in a good position to make plays. Eagles coaching staff did not do that today. And you heard it earlier there from Nick Sirianni when he was talking about Gardner Minshew and the type of day that he had. Okay. He's not wrong when it comes to Minshew. But when he starts focusing on the coaching staff, yeah, that's where I think the most fingers get pointed. And if not the most, the biggest finger gets pointed at the Philadelphia Eagles coaching staff yesterday. I just saw somebody hit me up on Twitter here. Don, what's up, Don? While Minshew was off for yesterday, got to place heavy blame on Steichen for horrendous play calling all day. Here's the thing, though. If the Eagles came out and they had a balanced attack, like, for instance, you just allowed a 15-play, 9-minute drive, basically, to start off the game. All right? 15 plays. 15 plays in yesterday's game. 75 yards. You're down 7-0. Your first play is a pass? Your first play after your defense was just out there for 9 minutes to start out the game. Your first play is a pass. No, why does that matter? Minshew was sacked on the first play, so the clock was still running. Still, it's the idea. I had a really bad feeling about that. Okay, I tried to talk myself out of it. I said, no, don't freak out. Don't lose your mind. He's a backup quarterback. You got to get a rhythm going. Get a rhythm going. I can make an argument that Shane Steichen is not the person to blame at all for this. Because you know what happened in the second half when I think it was more up to him as to what was being called? Because the first 15 plays, as we all know, the scripted plays, that's what the game plan was. They really reveal the game plan. You really want to know what a game plan is? Really think about the way the team starts out a play, starts out a game. Saints apparently did a really good job game planning. They were fantastic. Third down, they were next to perfect. If they didn't convert on third down that first quarter, you know what they did? They converted on fourth down, like their touchdown. But setting up their touchdown, I should say. So for me, I don't look at Shane Steichen in this game and I go, what the hell was he doing? You know who I look at? I look at Nick Sirianni. Because as I told you before, when the season started, Nick Sirianni said he was going to take play calling off his table. He's going to push that over to Shane Steichen. You're going to do the play calling. I'm going to be doing the game plan for the week. We'll all do that part of it together. But if they put their brains together, and ultimately it comes down to Nick Sirianni, and I know a lot of times he'll say, hey, the defense, my name's on everything because I'm the head coach. So if the defense plays terrible, he takes blame for it. Okay, I don't believe you. That's nice that you do that. You're looking out for your assistant coach. You're looking out for your defensive coordinator. Good for you. But when it comes to the offense, there are no excuses whatsoever. That was your game plan coming in? Give the ball to Miles Sanders twice in the first half? Only run the football twice? The Eagles did that one other time with Nick Sirianni. That was the Dallas game last year in Dallas. That was the game that made me put my cards in the middle of the table and just go, I'm out. What the hell is this guy doing? Everything that everyone said after the introductory press conference, they were right. I was wrong. That was terrible. This guy can't coach. Like even Andy Reid looks at 2 runs by a running back in the first half of play and goes, maybe you should run the ball. Like that's ridiculous. And then he does it again yesterday. People are like, this is the worst half of football I've ever seen. You know what? You're not far off, but you're off. Because, like, if he didn't make this mistake before, then I'd be like, oh, wow, you don't really see this from Nick Sirianni. But the fact that you saw it again? Hey, look, I know time of possession was terrible at the end of the first half. But when your defense is out there all the live long day, I don't know, maybe run the football and help him out a little bit. Also, take the ball out of the hands of your backup quarterback. If a guy's a backup, chances are a lot of times they're going to show why they're a backup. I know we experienced Nick Foles in the city, and it was amazing, and it was incredible, and that's part of what made that season so just unreal. But man, oh man, to go out there with a game plan of, hey, Gardner, you're going to go win this one for us, right? Defense came to play. Congrats to Brandon Graham for his first 10 sacks. You know, I was rooting for him to get 10 sacks. And then he got his 11th, and I was like, he's just showing off. But that's the way the game played out yesterday. I think I bitched and moaned about just about everything I wanted to. Oh, whoa, no. James Bradbury. What the? It ended up not being as big a deal because they actually had a good stand there. Milton Williams broke through the line and got to Taysom Hill. I think it was trying to run that. No, I think it was Andy Dalton. But they get in goal. The 58-yard play to Chris Olave that James Bradbury gets burnt on. I was waiting for the over the top safety help. No, not like last week. Okay. 58 yards to Chris Olave down the sideline, gets stopped short of the end zone. Eagles able to come up on a stop on that drive. Saints decided not to roll the dice to kick the field goal. But man, that was a horrendous play. Ended up being a good defensive play by your defensive line. Milton Williams got pressure. I think Javon Hargrave got over there as well. But that play, man, you just got beat. You just got beat. I think that Dallas game I referenced in Dallas was week 2 of last year, for those that want to look it up later. And for me, what really summed up the game, it's on my timeline on Twitter, if you guys want to check it out, if you haven't seen it. Jordan Mailata yesterday had his family there, and it was well covered. It was talked about during the game. I think I mentioned it last week as well. But Jordan Mailata goes out there, or is sitting down on the bench, and the camera catches him on the sideline. And I'm going to tell you this right now. In the production truck, what's going on is the producer and director are telling their cameramen, all right, guys, shots of disdain. Anybody looking upset, we need emotion. We need reaction shots for the Eagles. And they're panning the sideline, and boom, they land on Jordan Mailata. And Jordan Mailata is just shaking his head like in disbelief that he can't believe what just went down against the Saints. And he's just shaking his head. I'm sure he's thinking of his family being there, thinking they came all the way from Australia for the first time to be there live to watch him play. And he's just shaking his head like, man, damn it. What? That just, huh? They captured it. I'm sure also, and I was joking with somebody else on Twitter yesterday. Jordan Mailata shaking his head, and I'm sure his family's in the stands going, why didn't they just hand him the ball on that 4th and inches instead of that bearded guy? That's not like rugby, mom. Anyway, terrible. I'm bad with voices. Anyway, today, I'm having an off day. 2023 is not my year. Let me get into the chat check, see how you beautiful people are doing today. I'm sure you're just doing lovely. Let's see here. Kevin, good morning. April, hello. April, I don't want to hear anyone say again that Jalen isn't the biggest reason for the Eagles' success this season. Sims can kick rocks. April, I concur. Marquise, what's up, Marquise Graham? Eagles play calling was so predictable. A toddler would know every play. I will say this, and maybe I'll get video of this eventually, but Lil Toots, who's 3 now, She'll be 4 this year. We play a game called Downset Hut. And I basically started this game because she loves the roughhouse. And I figured if I could translate some football to her, maybe she'll want to watch football instead of Coco Melon, instead of Paw Patrol. Okay. Or on this medium that I do a lot of stuff on. Have you guys heard about Genevieve's Playhouse? It's not an uncommon idea. It's where people play with toys and film it, and then a kid watches it, and 50 million people will watch it. Yeah. That's what our kids are watching now. Anyway, I try to prevent it. She'll say to me, can I watch? She'll say, Sky Happy. Can I watch Sky Happy? And I'm like, you're watching a movie. Let's watch a movie. We watch a movie. And then we watch Frozen for the millionth time. But anyway, I'd rather follow that than 2 people playing with stuffed animals. Anyway, I digress. What the hell was I talking about? I blacked out for a second there. So yes, anyway, we play a game called Downset Hut, where she actually gets down, goes set, she gets in her stance, hut, and then she tackles me. And so far, it's kind of worked to get her to watch some football. But yes, my 3-year-old might know the plays by Shane Steichen and Nick Sirianni. Play calling was garbage. Eagles should have ran knowing we had a backup quarterback. Oh, yeah, and backup right tackle. You know, that first sack of the game was on Jack Driscoll's side. He had inside responsibility. It looked like maybe he blew his assignment. I don't know. But took the inside man, which you're always supposed to do technically, but I think it would have been one-on-one if he wasn't on the inside anyway. But Miles Sanders came up, tried to chip block, didn't work. Mitchell can go back in his van down by the river. April, nice. 72 sacks in a season. 72, you're damn right, PJ. Marquise, one thing we can say, Hurts' ability to extend plays would be key. Hurts, he wouldn't have gotten stopped on 4th and short. Absolutely. Clay, what's up, Clay? I watched yesterday. Oh, Clay. I tuned in just after Sweat got hurt. Turned it off after the first 3 and out. I'm convinced that I'm the jinx. Clay, I think we have mounting evidence. You can't even take the blame for the garbage play calling. April's not blaming Clay. That's nice. Saints were respecting the crap out of Minshew, something we know they wouldn't be doing if MVP Hurts was playing. I was screaming for Ian Book to play badly. April, the pick was insane. Anyone could read that coverage. Yep. Yeah, there was the only time on a read option I saw Minshew keep it was when the intent was to pass. Like it was like a Nick Foles play. It was a simple, football in the belly of the running back, looking on the other side of the field, knew he had single coverage on Dallas Goedert, knew if he got upfield it'd be a big play, pulls the ball back, and then he's got a guy right in his face. And if that's Jalen Hurts, that ball is either lofted out nicely for Goddard to make a play, or he's sprinting up the middle to get the first down to the right, probably not off tackle, but right inside the tackle to get the first down, or he's sprinting harder to his right to allow more time, extend the play like you're saying, and be able to hit Dallas Goedert downfield for a big play. Probably a touchdown. Sweat injury looks so bad. I'm glad it isn't bad. Yes, he was supposed to be released from the hospital. He tweeted out last night. The Eagles said he was going to be released last night from the hospital. I think he was, but that's definitely a good outlook, obviously. James Heenan, it's a no-brainer. Run the damn ball. It unfortunately was a brainer. It was a big brainer, unfortunately. Big brainer. April, sucks for my Lattice family to come all the way. Oh, Blue City Empire Sports. What made you think I wanted to hear from you today? The New York Football Giants are officially in the playoffs for the first time since 2016. Boats and hose. All right. April, what I'm hearing is Lil Toots is available for play calling. She'd be a very aggressive play caller. She's got no chill. Not to tell you another story of my insanely adorable daughter, but one of my favorite things she has started doing recently is she's got no tolerance. She's got no time for your bull. Okay. So let's say that she's eating an ice cream cone on a sofa, and I'll just say, Emmanuel, could you because we're renting the sofa because we staged the house. We ended up staging the house. We got the house pretty much sold in a weekend, so it worked. I'm not going to say against it. Ari, my man Ari, said definitely stage the house. We did. So we had to rent this like new sofa and everything. So I don't want to pay for it because I'm a cheap bastard. And she's like eating an ice cream cone on the sofa. So I say, hey, like, Mata Luz. I say, hey, little Tuts, whatever. Say, little Tuts, can you, sweetheart, can you not eat the ice cream cone on the sofa? Can you eat it at the table? And you'll just ask her once. It's not like you asked her 100 times. And she'll just go, okay. I have no idea where she picked it up, but she picked it up somewhere. And that's her attitude. She's got no time for your bull. New York Football Giants 38, Colts 10. Final score. Thanks, Blue City Empire Sports. I'm glad one of us is happy today because I am certainly not. So up for grabs yesterday. Let's get to the morning rush brought to by Sky Motorcars, SkyMotorcars.com. Here's something I haven't played for you yet. Jason Kelsey, and again, not mincing words. Jason Kelsey yesterday did not, the Philadelphia Eagles did not get the number 1 seed. Here's Jason Kelsey when he was asked about it. Dave Spadaro has this follow clip. So he's talking about watching the film. Jason Kelsey, I got to watch the film, correct mistakes. And then Dave Spadaro is kind of like, well, hey, there's this good thing. There's this potential there where you still could win the number 1 seed. Here's Jason Kelsey's response.
Get things fixed. Yeah.
And yet at the same time, 1 win and you clinch. Is it hard to feel that positive?
I'm not even focused on that right now. I could get about clinching a first place seed right now. We got to get a lot of things fixed. I got to get a lot of things fixed. So that's what I'm focused on. We'll make some corrections from today, obviously, and move on to New York.
Okay. Yep. Get things fixed and don't give two bleep about the number 1 seed. And he shouldn't, because that's the farthest thing. That would be the farthest thing from my mind. If you play a game like that, if you work really hard to have this opportunity and you blow it, I'm not thinking about that yet. I'm just thinking about how I just played. I'm thinking about how I just performed. Whatever your line of work is, if you love what you do, especially, oh my God. You just put that on film, and now you got to sit through and watch that. To me, I'm not ready to look at any silver linings. I don't know. Catch me on Wednesday. Maybe I'll be able to. Maybe I'll be able to figure that one out. But as of right now, I don't have anything for you. I can't look at this with silver lining. I know. Yes, you could say that it's the biggest endorsement for Jalen Hurts to be the MVP, and it is. You can look at this defense and be like, well, I thought Jonathan Gannon wasn't aggressive. 72 sacks. Whatever. I mean, I give 72 sacks. I give credit to Howie Roseman before I give credit to Jonathan Gannon, in all honesty, because he assembled a hell of a roster there. But man, oh man. Oh boy. I look at this team and how they played yesterday, and I don't look at anything that makes me go, oh yeah, this is great. They'll be fine. Yeah, catch me later in the week when it comes to a silver lining for this game. Last thing I have for you is one of the most important things, because no, I don't believe they lose that game without I don't think they lose that game if Jalen Hurts is their quarterback yesterday. I don't think that happens. Here is Nick Sirianni on the status for Jalen Hurts in this game and going forward.
And for me to say right now and today that, yeah, Jalen's playing or no, he's not playing, I don't think is fair to anybody. And so because so many things can happen in a week, and we're going to have to evaluate, we're going to have to see where he is. Nothing changes in that aspect of it. His health is the number 1 priority, and not putting him in a position that is going to risk his health. And so we'll evaluate that as the week goes, and obviously if he's ready to go, he'll play.
Cleared to play, will he play?
I'm sorry?
If he's medically cleared to play, will Jalen Hurts play?
Yeah, if Jalen's able to go, he'll go.
He was close. He was close to playing. All I'm saying is him not playing better not have been the Eagles' decision. And what I mean by that is he wasn't healthy enough to play. He better not have been healthy enough to play. Because if they chose to sit him out of just arrogance, then they got their comeuppance. But watching everything unfold the way it did yesterday, they needed him. And they're going to need him going forward, and everybody knows that. I will go ahead and say there's no way in hell. And I thought Jalen Hurts was going to play this week because I think he's healthy enough to play. I think the Eagles were arrogant about it. That's my take on the situation. And no, I have not examined Jalen Hurts, for those wondering. But when it comes to next week, Jalen Hurts is playing. Jalen Hurts is playing. If Jalen Hurts doesn't play, I have a feeling all of Philadelphia will go to Lincoln Financial Field, dress him, put his helmet on, slap him on the ass, tell him to get out there, and he's going to go out there and he's going to play. He's going to ball out, and he's going to lock up the MVP award. That's what I think happens. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, ladies and gentlemen. Much appreciated. Marquise Graham, I would rather honestly see injured Hurts play than a healthy Minshew, who was pathetic. All right. It's the old thing. Like is 85% of Jalen Hurts better than Gardner Minshew? Yes, it is. All right. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hey, more of me today. I'll be on Fox 29 today for their they love this segment. Footballed. Get it? Because we're both bald. Me and Eitan. Thanks everybody. You guys are great as per usual. This is the Farzy Show presented by Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers, the other corner of 8th and Walnut, right there on Jewelers Row. Hope you guys had a beautiful New Year, especially, except for New Year's Day where the Eagles sucked. So, yeah, good times. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Jim Hyde produced the program, did a wonderful job as per usual. This is a Buzz Sports Entertainment production. My name is Mark Farzy. I'll talk to you guys. You know what? Real quick, I do want to get this in end of the show. I mentioned Wednesday. Wednesday, we're going to have some fresh live content for you, hopefully. Wait, what am I saying? No, it won't be live. I got a flight to catch. If you guys remember the horse episode of the show where I was out in Colorado and my wife's Uncle Jerry put me on a horse, Uncle Jerry, unfortunately, passed away. He passed away 2 months ago. And when my wife and I were getting ready to go out there and flights were booked and everything, the widow, Aunt Margie, my mother-in-law, my uncle-in-law, everyone got COVID. So everything was shut down. Everything was canceled, postponed. Excuse me. So the memorial service for my wife's Uncle Jerry, great guy. I'm glad you guys got to see him on the video. The memorial service is this Friday. So we're going to be flying out there on Wednesday, and I'll make sure we still have some content for you guys, of course. And I'll keep you posted on social media about what I'm going to be doing and all that stuff. But just to let you know, it'll be a little bit different show week, but I'm still going to make sure you guys have that fresh good from me. Because we will be going out to Colorado. We are taking little toots with us to hopefully put some smiles on people's faces. But, yep, there'll be a memorial service for the man. We're going out there to honor him. Great guy. For those that didn't get a chance to see him on the videos that we did here, he was a walking, talking Teddy Roosevelt is who he was. Just a cattle rancher, had cows, horses, put me on a horse, taught me how to ride a horse. There's a lot to learn, which is surprising. It's not just a pony ride. And but yeah, great guy. So I'm going to be going out there on Wednesday morning to honor him, and I'll be out there Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday as well. But I'll make sure you guys have that fresh content. But I wanted to let you guys know that. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Be with you guys tomorrow. See ya.